Ihr seht und hört einen Podcast von Future of Festivals, dem Branchentreffen für alle VeranstalterInnen, DienstleisterInnen, EntscheiderInnen und Auszubildende aus dem Festivalbereich. Unsere nächste Veranstaltung findet vom Mittwoch, dem 25. bis Donnerstag, dem 26. November 2026 in der Station Berlin statt. Kommt vorbei, wir freuen uns auf euch. Aber jetzt erstmal viel Spaß mit der Aufnahme.
So, but now it's my pleasure to be deep diving into the topic of festival tourism. And I don't know how you guys are, but when I was at the very first time of my life at the festival, it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I think I was 13, 14 years old, and ever since I go to festivals, and as I'm getting older and older, the festival experience that I wish to have is getting also more and more exclusive. And this is exactly what we're going to talk about now. This festival tourism economy that grew within the generation of millennials, and therefore we have our wonderful experts that Sophia already introduced to us. This is Greta, Natália, and Benjamin. So, and I would like so that we are getting to know each other a little bit better. Also, we had our preliminary talk, but also that our audience is getting to know you a little bit better. I would like to start with a personal question with you, Greta. As I just mentioned my very first festival experience, do you remember yours?
Yes, I do remember it very well. I was 17, illegally going onto the festival grounds. I was not prepared whatsoever. I didn't know what a festival was, to be honest. I did not have a tent, a sleeping bag, or anything, really. And I just heard some guys were going. I thought, I'll just join them in their tent, I guess. And so I was there lying on a really steep angle, actually. Not being able to sleep for 3 days. It was a psytrance festival in some wood. And I never left the festival scene afterwards.
But now you're more into metal, right? As you joined also Wacken in 2022.
Yes, something happened. I stayed with the psytrance scene for quite a while, and then I changed colors and wear all black now, and listen to heavy metal, which actually brought me into Wacken Open Air then eventually.
All right. Natália, since 2013 you're the director of the Valley of Arts Festival. Tell us, do you remember your very first festival experience?
Actually, the Valley of Arts Festival was started in 1989, and I was taken there first as a kid by my parents.
Really?
Yeah, so how cool
my
is
God,
that?
so you were at the very, very first edition.
Yeah. So it was always strong with children's programming, and that's what we try to keep. We have 40 stages, a colorful multi-art program. And yes, since 2013, I was volunteering for a while as well, so I always like to take part in the organization part of the festivals as well. I also worked a bit for Sziget as a volunteer as well, or other smaller festivals of Hungary, and tried to visit some of your festivals, guys, as well.
Yeah, of course. And Benjamin, with Liffin, you're the founder, of course, and you are part of 70 festivals a year. So I guess nowadays festivals as your daily business are something very usual to you. But your very first festival experience, how was it?
Quite similar to Greta's. I was 16 years old, and I kind of sneaked in with my brother to a festival. We took a tent from the attic and brought a couple of six-packs. Then it was possible still, but now security is much better. But yeah, the things I remember from that time is not so much actually, because I was just going to the festival, and the tent I have back then was just a very simple tent, also like Greta, no sleeping bag. We would just sleep in the tent together, and yeah, it was a very basic experience, but it was one that I still remember. And going to 70 festivals, like working for 70 festivals, I've seen a lot, but this is one that has really stuck with me as the first one.
And how did you came up with the idea of founding Liffin? Did this first festival experience influence you?
A little bit, yeah. I love going to festivals, but starting Liffin actually started with, I had a different business in promotional items, and through that business I met the people of Tomorrowland, and then we started talking about their festival, and it was still a small, well, big festival, but not international as it was right now. But we looked at the sustainable issues that a lot of international visitors will go there. They will buy a tent at Decathlon and they will leave it there. So we came up like, why don't we make a tent that is like a merchandise item, and we pre-pitch it and we sell it in advance, and we elevate the full experience for those visitors. And it was a tryout in 2012, and we made the tent as the shape of in the same theme as the festival. It was then the Book of Wisdom. So we made a book-shaped tent, just an A-frame. And yeah, it was actually quite a success then. And from there it evolved into more festivals and more different tents.
Wow, okay, that's a super nice story. And now you already told it. You're collaborating with Tomorrowland, with Wacken, with also very big sports events. You just mentioned a Porsche collaboration within the 24 hours race in Le Mans.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually what we do at Liffin, we try to look at the full scale of a festival and try to create a comfortable level for each of the levels that are at the festivals, for all the visitors that are there. So we have a very budget solution, just you pick up a tent and you pitch it yourself, up to the most luxurious events where you have like a own bathroom in the accommodation. And with one new accommodation, it's also here at the fair. That's one that's really, Porsche could identify themselves with the service that we had and the accommodation that we designed. And together we created a full service resort-style campsite at the Le Mans 24 hours track. People from all over the world, they flew them to this campsite, and it was something really new. We cooperated with the Marriott Hotel, St. Regis, and it was like a 5-star resort. It's completely changed the way we work at. It completely changed our perspective of what we can do for remote locations and what kind of lodging is possible there.
And there you also offer like different, let's say, levels of exclusivity for the people who are living on the festival, right? And this is also what is bringing us to like the core of our discussion, the economic and touristic side of the whole festival area that you're like basically in the core of. So
what we try to do is come up with solutions for the full demographic of a festival, for all the visitors. And that means that for every budget, we need to have a solution. And for the people who travel there, like Greta and I, we just said, like when we were 16, 17 years old, we don't have any budget and we're okay with just bring your own tent. But from mid-30s or early 30s, you need some more comfort. And you start seeing nowadays festivals more like a destination. You will travel there. It's an anchor in your holiday. Maybe you will spend 2 weeks on a road trip with just that one festival that you want to go to. Maybe it's a beach festival in Croatia. It's a festival for restaurants, for chefs in Italy, or in Hungary, like a multi-genre festival. It's just a destination, and the whole travel is around that festival.
And someone who are collaborating with is Wacken. It was the year when you joined Wacken, or 1 year later that the collaboration started. And maybe, Greta, you can tell us something about also the different levels of accommodations that you're offering right now at Wacken.
Yeah, sure. So I actually overtook the whole special camping at Wacken in 2022, but in the after festival. And then we just actually, I think you are someone from you guys was there in 2022 already, and then we joined forces.
Yeah.
And when I overtook it, there was a lot of things already happening, but it was a little. I think Wacken actually started in around 2008 with like camper park, with different like camping for vans and stuff like that. And there were so many suppliers, so much happening, and I just came in and looked at it as a product for actual product management and thought, well, this is a really big thing, but I think it just needs structure, to be honest. We need to be able to see what is our demographic, what are people looking for, is it easy to understand, which it, in my opinion, wasn't at that time. So I just overtook the project, yes, and joined forces with Liffin and different suppliers. I looked at what we do have currently, what do we need to grow. So we do have 5 different areas currently, and I was careful to look into having a low budget version, for example, which is our TNT area, where you only have like a basic tent, maybe like an air mattress within, but we can go up to our moshtel, which is the most premium thing we have, and then you have...
How can I imagine the moshtel?
Well...
I've heard so much about it.
Yes. I think it's a really, really nice area, and we are lucky in Wacken because we have a demographic that is a little older than the typical festival guys.
How old are they?
In Moschtel, we have the oldest target demographic, so it's around 40 plus, more like 50 to 60. I think the average in festival is more around the 40s, but in Moschtel it actually is the highest. And yeah, we do have like a fast lane. You're really, really close by festival infield. You have your own container, so it's like a fixed structure where you have your bed, you have like a luggage shuttle, you have your own food and beverage offerings, you have really high exclusive sanitary facilities, so there's quite a range of things you get with.
And how much is one of those tickets for the weekend?
It really depends on what product you have. So I think for 2026 we have 8 different units. It starts with 2,000 euros, and then
for the whole festival, for the 4 days.
That's just the accommodation.
Okay.
And the festival ticket is actually on top.
Okay.
So you're around 2,000, maybe 2,900 euros for a unit for 2 to 4 people, in Moschtel at least.
But for 2 to 4 people, not per person.
No, not per person. It is
Okay.
for the whole unit, and you are happy to put in as much people in as beds are in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And then we do have Residence Evil, which is a really beautiful area where all the Liffin tents are. So there we have options from 2 people tents to up to 6 people tents, which are really beautiful as well. And that's a bit further off, but really nice setting. It's a bit more quiet, I would say, and a little younger, for example. So you do see how target demographic chooses and where people go. For example, the new area, the TNT area, is really low budget, easy entry. A lot of international guests coming there because they don't want to bring anything else. And that's really cool to see.
This was also what I was wondering, if you can target where your guests are coming from. Can you say that like the Germans, they're more like Moschtel guys, or the international audience is whatever? I don't know. Is there a targeting possible, or do you see anything?
Yeah, for sure. We do track. We do have like a guest journey afterwards. Not journey. How do you call it? Survey. That's the word. To see where people are coming from, how everything went. Obviously, we want to know if people were happy or not. And Moschtel is predominantly Germany, Switzerland, Austria. That is really interesting. Residence Evil, for example, is way more international guests. A lot of Australians, New Zealand people, which is really fun to see. It's really interesting. And then all the plots of land. So we also sell just the land, for example, Bauuwe's Garten, and that's Germans only because they do come with their own car. Most of them are Germans anyway. Yeah, but we are careful to track data and see where people are coming from, to know who's coming and what can we offer, how can we make the service even better for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wow, that's super interesting. And what's also very interesting is the Valley of Arts Festival, also in comparison to Wacken, because you're also Hungary's oldest and largest interdisciplinary cultural event. And what can you tell us about the accommodation situation at the Valley of Arts?
Well, we have 3 small villages that we put our smaller stages to yards and barns and or fields. So it's not a typical festival setting. So therefore, we not only have tents or, containers and those kind of options you would have, but we have homestays as well. So Valley of Arts really brings people together. So you might end up at a family home, and they would give you some breakfast in the morning as well, some stories. And actually, this is how you would really build up an attachment to the place as well and know about it better. So that's why it cannot be transferred to anywhere else, because you really know where you are. So it's not just a random field that you would be able to change for another field at a different area.
And that's also very interesting if we have the point of view on the local benefit, the local economic benefit for the people. I can imagine that they're also having a big advantage out of this.
Yeah, the 3 smaller villages, basically, when we took it over with the younger team, as it was started in 1989, we took it over in 2013. We realized that a lot of people in our country and across the borders would know the name of this small village, Kapocs. So basically, we already tangibly realized that there is an impact of a festival, so we started using the social media channels for not only selling our tickets and promoting the shows, but promoting the service providers who are present at the Valley of Arts. And we built up a touristic income for these villages throughout the year as well. We also started running a community and cultural space on the incomes of the festival. And we do build every year some smaller pavements or infrastructural things that are needed for the villages. So basically, those people really feel the impact of the festival, the positive impact, and not only the negative one, with all the strangers going. Just imagine when you're in a small village and then you have another 20,000 people around. So it's just a different setting, and but that's how it works. And then that's how we started implementing this model in other villages as well, with Arts for Rural Development Foundation, and started collecting data as you do, guys, and realized most of our festival contents are language-based for Hungarians, and a lot of people, as we are selling tickets and can see, would buy from Australia, UK, or Germany as well, are those Hungarians who live abroad, and they coordinate their vacation with the festival dates. So it's a great opportunity for them to see the state of art of Hungary and having a snapshot.
And as you just mentioned, the Arts for Rural Development Foundation that you're the chair of, can you tell us some more about it?
Well, we have numerous partnerships with smaller festivals in tiny villages, rural areas, and we teach those organizers how to use these promotion channels not only for the festivals but for the good of the community as well. So it became a network, and we even helped an area in Transylvania and Romania as well to implement this model. So it's collecting data for the rural festivals. And then we started the Hungarian Tourist Program Foundation, and that one started collecting data with ants on sports, cultural, and business event basis as well. So we hope to give back some inputs to the event sector, and we also educate each other throughout other events and fairs.
Wow, that's super nice. Thank you so much for doing this.
We try.
Yeah. Yeah, so what we see here is that economic impact for the region is very, very high. I guess in Wacken it's similar.
Well, Wacken obviously is really bound to the brand is the village, and I think it's a really beautiful thing to see as well. So the Wacken Open Air started in the 90s, and it wouldn't have been possible to grow in that size without the farmers, with all the people from the village. And it's so cool to see once you're on site, the whole village does celebrate with us, to be honest, and they are excited. Their families come in and they rent their gardens, and like little children are running around and doing like collecting deposits and stuff. And a lot of the local crew as well are people that do have regular jobs, and then they go on vacation just to work for us because they have been doing so for 25 years. So I think the impact, just not like socially and in terms of economy, is huge, because our CEOs make a really big point as well of think globally but buy locally, and I think that's really, we all try to implement that in our work because we're so connected to the area. That is where we are. The lands are, the fields are the ones we use for every year, and it's going to stay that way. And yeah, I think that's the biggest impact we have on the site. I mean, we bring tourists in. Wacken has like 2,000, maybe 3,000 people living there all year round, and then all of a sudden there are like 85,000 people just swarming the area, and yeah, making it the destination. I think I wouldn't have known Wacken, and I live in Hamburg, so I'm not too far off. And I know Wacken just because of the festival, and that's for everyone, or most people as well.
Yeah, but I've been there also several times, and every time when I come there, I feel very welcomed when you're like driving slowly through the village in the auto colonne, and everyone is smiling, they're greeting, they're waving.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of pride in being from Wacken and being part of the crew, for example. Like, we have the crew shirt, and people love just being part of it and having their impact as well. And it's a really beautiful thing to see how it's like a family affair almost. I mean, it's giant, but it still amazes me every time I'm there. And I came from a big city, and then I just got implemented in this whole world, and it's just really cool to see.
Wow, good to hear. And Benjamin, now I'm wondering, as you're working with so many different international festivals, is this something where Valley of Arts and Wacken are exceptions, or is this something that always happens when a festival is coming to a certain place where normally not so much is happening, that there is a positive cultural and overall economic interaction and advantage for the people who are living and working there? Could you agree on this statement?
Yeah, definitely. So for specific festivals that we work with, the bigger ones out there with a lot of international visitors, people will come not only to the festival, but they will travel to the country. So if you're going to a festival like DEFCON or Tomorrowland, it's not only that festival that you go to. You spend some time in Antwerp or in Amsterdam. You will go see a museum. You will eat at the local restaurants. It's a lot more. The ripple effect of a festival through a country is much bigger if you have a lot of international guests. So besides the point that all the local people will work at the festival, or farmland will be rented out, all the small shops actually profit from it. It's the economic pool is huge for a festival outside of the festival as well.
So would you also say that, but also like this positive economic side that you can experience if we think one step further in the in expanding the idea of festival to like another city, another location, like the metal cruise. Is this same principle working like everywhere?
That's actually a very difficult question. So I've had experience with traveling to festivals to different countries, and with festivals like Tomorrowland or Mysteryland, or like what we do is we complete the experience with all the accommodations as well. So we try to fully give the expected experience to the festival in a different country. But that's just very difficult. There are so many different rules. But either way, if you have a festival in a different country, the economic impact is again quite big, because the festivals that will travel to a different country are also the destination festival. So they will bring directly 30, 40,000 people for a weekend or maybe a 2-week holiday to that country. Like 40,000 people go to Brazil for Tomorrowland. It's the impact there is quite big, and yeah, but it's very difficult then to fully deliver on the experience because there are so many factors in place that you can't really control.
Natália, what do you think about this growth aspect and this expanding aspect of the festival experience?
You see, that's why with the Hungarian Tourist Program Foundations, for example, we do some sectoral surveys and researches. For example, KPMG delivered one on the business, sports and cultural events effects. What we realized, we are still not that good at data reporting, so that's why we try to encourage all the partners just to collect their data, because what we can see sometimes we cannot put the magnitude. We can feel that there's a big effect, but it would be better to show the exact GDP share or the GDP that is driven by the event. So I hope that within a few years I could come back with some more tangible numbers. But yes, so of course, as I could see this model working in a small scale there, I would be 100% sure about the visitor journeys, where they come from, how they are coming there, what else they would do around the festival, because I'm doing my surveys and I've been doing them since 2018 now, so for quite a long time and with a quite high efficiency. But I would be really interested on the whole Hungarian event sector's impact, because let's admit, sometimes they think of us as like really nice gatherings. Yeah, these are the funny people doing their camping, music stuff, but it's always, you have to support your claims with data, unfortunately, to be taken seriously, and not just the best friends with some more alcohol and free tickets.
Yeah. And Greta, you proved successfully that this model can work out. I think the Metal Cruise was the first cruise ship festival on a cruise ship that ever took off, and ever since it's a success story. What can you tell us? How was this possible to implement the idea and to transfer it even to a cruise ship?
Yeah, I mean, this is only me talking in my opinion, because I haven't been there when my boss actually implemented all of that. But I think the main point is, and we are quite lucky in having like a really strong brand. Wacken is a brand, and there's so much community and so much, even I think the heavy metal scene is quite special in what it is. So there's a really loyal fan base that just loves being heavy metal and being integrated. So that's how that worked in my opinion, because you just need to get the audience, you need to know what is your audience. And for us, it's not always accessible for everyone to be in the mud on a festival site. So there are people maybe having issues with going on festivals. So as our audience grows older, they maybe want more luxury or want the Wacken experience, not being in Wacken on site, because it's really exhausting at some point. So the combination is really what makes it work, I think, because the cruises sell out like that. The holiday, the Full Metal Holiday also does. And I think it's really cool to use the spirit that is created around the brand, and especially the community feel of you're still part of Wacken and you can take it everywhere. And I think that's what's most important to make those things successful.
So it's about the brand building and the community, a community building. Of course, also brand building, but it's more about the community that you have to build up and that you have to invest in the long term, and then you can expand your brand activities.
Yeah, I think so, and also being aware of what their needs are and what is it they are looking for, and I think it really comes down to that. And the other thing I was just thinking about is that also you just need very good local partners that are able, if it's like the cruise ships or partners, for example, on the holiday at Mallorca, you just need people that know what is happening in the different country, or what are the customs, what are the laws, to really have like a strong production as well. Because if you're in Germany, you just know how Germany works, and if you have experts in their local region, it's really important to join forces to make it successful.
All right.
And I guess you really need to communicate to your audience that what's going to be different. So what is the similarity, but what's going to be different clearly, I guess, because we tried to, and we started a smaller festival, on, practically speaking, at the other end of Hungary. So, but there we have wineries, for example. So we started communicating that yes, we would have the multi-art content, but here you would have some more historic trails and some wineries involved, etc. And you would have to formulate what you wouldn't find there. So you wouldn't find the 40 stages, and it's only 3 days long. So with a lower density, and that's, I guess, why your transition was kind of successful as well, because you could explain it well and manage the expectations, right?
Yeah, I think so. And it's just communication is always key, I guess, and making sure that there are enough things that are close enough and similar to the Wacken experience, but being different as well. And what is different is you're on a cruise ship, you have the luxury of your own room, for example, or you can also travel and see different areas and stuff like that. So it's a mixture between old and familiar nostalgia and also having something new and exciting.
And Benjamin, from your point of view, what does it take for a festival brand to successfully expand to another country or region?
Yeah, if you want to keep the brand as it was as the original festival, yeah, you need to be able to copy the full recipe to the different country. So on every aspect, you need to deliver the same experience. And I only have my perception, of course, of the accommodations. So that's why we travel with the traveling festivals, also supplying the accommodations exactly as they are in the original country, in the other countries. So that's only what I can do from our perspective. But yeah, the main thing is you need to deliver on what the visitors are expecting.
And talking about accommodations, do you work with the same kind of type of accommodations for all the global festivals, let's say, or is there like a special type of accommodation that is only for Tomorrowland or that is only for whatever other festival?
So how we look at accommodations is more of a hybrid model. So we have the structure is generic. We can put it at every festival, but for some festivals we create unique parts of it, like a printed fly sheet or a facade on the front or different interior. That way it's a very low-cost solution to get a fully customized accommodation. And that way it's also easier to capture that full brand experience in a different country. But most of our accommodations are customizable in a way.
Okay, and do you kind of see a trend in this, or do you have a feeling where it is going? Is it getting more and more luxurious? If you look like at the past 10 years, or is it even possible to predict something for the future? What's your feeling?
Yeah, I think the future, it's not about creating more luxury. That's a misconception, I think. It's about creating more comfort. And comfort doesn't need to be luxurious. Comfort is already a low-cost pre-pitched tent that you only bring your backpack and you can go to the festival directly. And I see a significant growth there on the lower end of the market. It's also a more sustainable approach. Like, don't buy any new tents, don't buy a new sleeping bag. Just go to the festival, rent it, and we will clean it and pitch it to the next festival again. I think there's the biggest growth at the moment.
Okay, so it's about comfort and it's about sustainability. Natália, sustainability is a topic that is very close to your heart, as we already heard as well. Would you agree on what Benjamin just said? And
Actually, it's an interesting thing because in Hungary, comfort is getting like so in focus with especially Gen Z guys. So yeah, they would go for romantic tent-ish feeling, but with a really kind of proper toilet, bathroom, and shower options and things like that, which actually is a challenge in a way. But of course, you know, you cannot tell them, okay, I did festival experience like this, you have to do it the same way, you have to do your festival experience without a sleeping bag and a plain tent. So of course you have to be careful with that. But what I can see now more, that the wooden houses or the preset, more solid structures are getting more attention, and the bring your own tent or the pitched up simple tent wouldn't be something that the Gen Zs would go for. It's more my age, actually.
Yeah. Then the aspect affordability comes into play, and the more luxurious the experience, the more it costs as well. And for my opinion, is or not even my opinion, what we see in the market is that the lower end is growing quite rapidly for the Gen Z. And in terms of comfort, it's not about a bring your own. It's just getting a normal bed to sleep in for an affordable price. That's already a big step forward, instead of like getting all these tents from the shops and bringing them and leaving them behind because they're too wasted to pack them and bring them back home. So it's a big variety of different events as well. We see different.
Well, it's a great opportunity to have such providers because, like this, of course, it's more sustainable if you use these tents and logistical elements at more festivals rather than you as a single festival trying to buy all of them. And yes, sustainability is something that I guess we are talking about a lot in these circles. There are some Green Deal and Green Festival manuals, toolkits as well, and I think we are trying to learn from each other the most of the time as well.
And what I also really love is I do work really closely with our sustainability manager, because we have those glamping areas and they are almost like a closed up area, so you can test a lot of things as well without like having to do the whole campground. But so there we tried out like solar energy for just all the tents. Almost worked, but there's so many options we can do, and I think the sustainability really comes into play so much, because you have like a small group of people that doesn't need to be 85,000 people, but you could try so much things with those smaller sample size, which is really interesting as well to see and work with.
And you see the homestay system as well. It was already a sustainable ground to build on at the Valley of Arts. And well, the camping part, let's admit, actually just a note, of course in Hungary we wouldn't have such big problems of people leaving so many tents behind. At the Valley of Arts we never had a problem, and I would think that, for example, at Sziget or those bigger festivals that attracted more internationals, it was always the traveling party who would have that problem around, because of course you don't want to take a 20 euros tent with you and then pay another 50 or 100 on a Ryanair for that. And so basically all festivals have different backgrounds as well, so we didn't have to deal with this part that much, but we hope that we could educate faster our youngsters either.
And as you already mentioned, the different generations during this talk, is it even possible to say, okay, now these are the millennials, the Gen Xers that are like the base of the festival tourism economy, or as you just said, it's also the Gen Z that is asking for more comfort at the festivals. Is it even possible to talk about generations in this way, or is it like an overall thing and an overall change that we can, see right now?
Well, at least in my opinion, I think it's almost global thing. I think after Corona and all the pandemic things, people got a new understanding of sanitary things as well, and just are more closed off and want their own tent and want to have the nice showers and stuff as well. And then, for example, my younger brother, he's like 25, and he never ever camped in a tent before because he's always like, no, I need a camper van at least. So I think the new generation really, they don't want to be in the mud, in the tent, and the older generation has the economic power to buy those nice comforts. And also I think people do choose more carefully what festivals they attend. Like they don't do 10 or 20 in a season anymore, but one, and have more power to buy. Well, I used to be like that, I'm sorry. Maybe just 5, okay. No, so they choose more carefully and then obviously have more power to buy more things on site and invest in more comfort and being comfortable on site. So I think it's not just the new generation needing or wanting more comfort, but also older people as well.
And is this something that you kind of can experience on, like, because can you still say, okay, most of our attendees, they really care about the comfort, or is it still like, I don't know, a percentage of this 10% that are like also willing to pay, I don't know, twice or 4 times of the amount of the price of the ticket? Because like if you have a look at the like genuine at the big numbers of festival visitors, I still see this crowded camping places that I was just wondering, they are also kind of hiring their level and caring about a better experience of their stay?
I'm not quite sure if I grasped the question correctly.
Like the majority of the festival campers, do they also care about a higher standard?
Well, I think it's an interesting mix of things. So especially with heavy metal, obviously you have to be really careful to not be like really upscale and all bougie, because people don't like that because it's not rock and roll. So we do try to make the regular campsite as comfortable as well, because the camping part is such a big part of the festival experience. I mean, how many times you just stay in your camp and miss your favorite band because it was just so nice. So we also do make an effort to make sure that even the regular camper have a good time and have good facilities as well as the ones who pay more. But obviously, if you pay more, you are probably more likely to be closer by, have shorter walking distance as well. So you just need to navigate and balance all of those things that are affordability, sustainability, but also the economic part.
Okay. And Benjamin, how do you see this aspect of like the normal camping fields? Is there also the comfort increasing right now, or is there a tendency?
Yeah, I fully agree with Greta, and it's all the festival goers demand or appreciate more comfort, and it's already in smaller lines for the shower or flushable toilets, or the having a little bit more space for your tent. Those are all small things that add up to the comfort of visiting a festival. Like the ones we went to when we were 16, 17, the experience we had then. Of course, some of the people who go to the festival still have those experiences, but much less than when I was 17, I think.
All right. Okay. And how do you see it, Natália?
Well, Valley of Arts has a really robust all ages concept. Therefore, we cannot feel the changes that rapidly, fortunately. So we have teenagers, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 something-ish visitors. But, and as I told, we try to collect data a lot. Comfort, yes, is a key. On one hand, for those who are getting older, and well, it's our interest that people would stay longer at our festivals. And actually, my festival, Valley of Arts, is 10 days long.
10 days long,
Yeah,
and the people are also staying for 10 days.
There are some people
wow.
that would stay for 10 days.
Ah.
Actually, it's a loyal part which would buy the 10 days ticket in August, September, as we just finished the festival. We always, the next day, start the 10 days tickets, passes.
And they directly buy for the next year.
Yeah, and they would buy the 10 days on buses, but of course some of them would anyways have weekend houses around the Lake Balaton because it's an interesting location you would perhaps anyways be in connection with. So of course we try to collect these feedbacks and try to improve our campsites. And yeah, so it's not a luxury, it's not like putting up a Louis Vuitton tent or something, it's about flushing toilets.
Just the basics. Just the basics create a little bit more comfort.
Which of course then means higher costs, setting up costs. It's another question of financial sustainability of the whole festival model. When the A-list stars are getting, after the stadium shows the higher prices, higher fees, infrastructure is getting more expensive. We will see how it ends up and how we can hold together this model. For us, for example, as a trick, we use as many infrastructural possibilities of the setting and the 3 villages that is already there as possible. We use the villages actually as decors, and we don't put up a lot of additional stuff. And we try to promote that these places are as beautiful as they are. But we will see how it ends up, because if then at the end of the day to build up a camping would be as building some residential area, then you will have to try another model.
All right. As we are heading towards the last 10 minutes of this talk, I was wondering if you, our dear audience, are also having any questions that you would love to ask. Yeah, we were waiting for the microphone. Yannick, there's one over there. As we are also having our viewers via the stream over here in the first row. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Yaksha. I have a question for Benjamin. I was wondering how Liffin operates. Do you manufacture your own tents? Do you buy them from manufacturers? Do you rent them and then sub-rent them to your clients, or a combination of all 3?
It's an interesting question. So we manufacture everything ourselves. So we have our own purchasing office in China, and we work directly with factories. We are developing our own fabrics to the tents you buy off the shelf of the brands you all know in all the stores, they're not for professional use. We had a few of them. We had some problems with them at some events. So now we are just saying no to all the off-the-shelf products. We are developing everything ourselves, and we control the full production of all of our products.
Are there any more questions? Yes. We have another question in the first row.
I think for all of you,
can you speak up a little bit, please?
I have heard of a festival that last summer unfortunately had to cancel very last minute within a week before the festival, a small festival, because the local community was not on board with it. They found out about the festival late and apparently were not well informed, and it was devastating for this festival. So I am curious if any of you have experience with that or stories with that, like how to get a local community on board if they have a lot of doubt and resistance against the festival being there.
Well, first you have to communicate a lot. Even though you would think just traveling to this space once a week or twice a month is too much for you, but probably for locals it's still not enough. So, unfortunately, it's an ongoing thing, even for a festival that's been running since 1989. And actually, even the community and cultural space now is one of those sources which is, keeps us in the loop of communication, because most of the times, as we could see, although we do forums for the villagers, still you have to take up the negative feedback through having a beer with someone or meeting, bumping into someone at the shop, because perhaps they wouldn't reach out. And in such smaller local communities, you are the outsider, and one person's negative feedback could generate more sympathy around them. So it's better to always, if you hear the first negative feedback, to go directly to that person, to reach out and try to start a communication and start a conversation, because most of the times it's not a good tactic saying that, okay, but this person would know my number. Why shouldn't that person would reach out? They would never reach out, and then at the end of the day, it would be your festival that is cancelled because someone couldn't sleep well.
Please, Greta.
I was just going to add, I think communication is the most important part, and also just making people feel seen. And even if you can't change what is bothering them because the festival is going to take place, I think just talking to them, allowing them to even just rant and be angry at you, explaining things, looking at them, saying, yes, I hear you, yes, it is annoying, just helps, because they feel seen and valued with their opinion, and that makes them more likely to join forces or maybe help out or at least tolerate you.
For example, once we had a lady who lives next to one of the stages, and she had a baby 2 years ago, and she came to the forum and told me, my first reaction was like, that sucks. I mean, I cannot give you any more advice, and we arranged her some accommodation in another village for the 10 days, actually, for the baby, because, I mean, I have a child as well, and I was like, oh, I wouldn't want that experience either. So we, tried to help her with another solution, or finding a solution. And actually, sometimes there are so silly things happening, and sometimes I had the positive outcome of changing something, because it's not always the noise, but like a car being parked in a wrong place, or a toilet being placed wrongly, something. And it's really always, I mean, it's good, and it gives them a positive feedback that they are seen, they are heard, and something might happen as well, so don't give up.
All right, so it's about the communication also of the small things. Okay, do we have any other questions in the audience? No? Everyone is happy? Okay, so let's use the last 5 minutes for, a positive look into the future. What gives you hope if you look at the future of festival tourism? Greta, you want to start?
Yes, I think I do have a lot of hope, and I think it's so cool to see what has for Wacken has been happening for the last 3 years. I have been working on this project because the growth has been so crazy. It's honestly unbelievable. We're almost having like 30% of festival guests within one of our accommodations, and it's just really cool to see. It's really nice to see the feedback of guests on site, talking to them, just making the experience more enjoyable, and also maybe focusing on that the whole experience is being looked at, and it's not only the main stage and it's not only this band, but it's the whole experience you have, because camping is one of the biggest parts of being in a festival, and it's the first touch point, because you arrive, how is your arrival, how fast do you have your car parked, blah 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 blah. And I think it's so cool to be part of that experience and see how you can create even more memorable experiences that are full encompassing, and not just listening to music, but actually being part of a community, being part of this experience, and that from day one arrival and then leaving.
Wow, that sounds super fulfilling.
It is. I'm actually so happy to join you guys here for this panel, because I have been really passionate about also just raising a visibility, I guess. It sounds a bit cheesy, but it's true, for the camping part, and growing this business together, also with Liffin, for example, and making sure that it's also part of the production, and it's not only the technical side, but it's also the comfort, the service people experience. And yeah, it's really cool to do that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Natalia, what is giving you hope?
Well, my hope is that we can keep people curious towards each other's cultures, and I think festivals are the best cultural diplomats and promoters of each other's cultures. So whenever it's a one theme-related festival as Wacken or a multi-art festival, I think more and more people would explore that it's actually a great way to meet people, to bring people together, and I hope that we can be a part of it. And you see, the other thing is, as I'm the second generation director of this festival, my other hope is that in few years, like 10 or something, there will be another generation then, and the whole idea would still grow and thrive, but with the younger generation. So I really hope that the value of arts will just grow for decades and decades with the same spirit.
Wow, yeah, I'm like, I definitely want to see it now. I'm like, as I already know Wacken, I'm like, wow, next year, count me in. Okay, Benjamin, the last words are yours.
Well, I'm flattered. Thank you. No, so I don't really look at this as hope, but I'm very curious and excited for what the future will bring, because I've been in this part of the business now for 15 years, and we grew it from just simple plastic tents to full resorts at some events. And I'm just very curious how the next 15 years will look like. It will be a complete shift of, well, that's what I hope maybe then, or what my dream could be, is that people will go to the resort and that they will see a festival as a site of the sort, of the campsite. They will go there for a weekend or a week away, and then they will go see the DJs instead of going to see the bands or the DJs, and then they will go to the campsite just to sleep. I would see that as a shift. That's one of my missions then, I guess.
Yes. Wow, very nice mission. Thank you so much for being into this. Thank you so much, Benjamin, Natalia, and Greta, for sharing all of your knowledge and for raising awareness. I hope that all of you enjoyed the talk as much as I did. Thank you so much for your energy, for your for being here, for listening to us. Thank you for everyone in the stream. And now it's my part to hand over to Sophia again.
Thank you. Yeah, round of applause, everybody. Thank you very much for this very interesting panel. Thank you.